Whoa. Let me get the channel here so I can share it, everybody. We're going to talk about the NBA draft coming up here in a little bit. There's got to be a better way of doing what I'm trying to do here. Trying to grab the links and link and share it on Facebook real quick. So I can share it, everybody. We're going to talk about NBA draft coming up here in a little bit. Gotta be a better way of doing what I'm trying to do here. Alright, we got it posted. I'm gonna wait and see if anybody shows up. Link and share it on Facebook real quick. The bad news is I can't tell who's watching. Let me mute my YouTube channel. One watching. There we go. I gotta watch the YouTube channel to see if anybody's watching. So I'm gonna wait a little bit here. See if anyone shows up. And I don't want to wait because if anybody goes back and watches the recording, I don't want them to have to wait through all this crap. So I'm just gonna get to it. How does that sound? So here, I listen to 97.1 a lot in Metro Detroit about the Detroit Pistons and the upcoming draft and all this stuff. And so last season, let's go back a year. Cade Cunningham. Obviously the Pistons took Cade Cunningham, and I was one of the guys. I was on the Jalen Green bandwagon, honestly, and both players look like they're going to be very good. In hindsight, I'm extremely glad we got Cade. I think I was wrong about that, but right before the draft, I do remember Cade saying he wanted to come to Detroit. Like he wanted to be number one. He wanted to be in Detroit, and that I flipped at that point, and I was a Cade fan. And but leading up to that, I was all about Jalen Green. So Jalen Green could still very well have a very nice career. He looks like kind of a freak of nature. Very athletic. If you want to compare anybody to Ja Morant like they keep doing with Ivy, I would say Jalen Green's closer. He's extremely athletic. Flies to the hoop. He's a decent shooter. But Cade, leadership-wise, intangibles, wants to be here. I was on board as soon as I heard that. So this year, I've kind of been poo-pooing Jaden Ivey, and it's not that I don't think he'll be good. I think he'll be a good player in the NBA. Very good player in the NBA. I want the intangible guy. I want the guy who's special. We need another superstar. I want to start, not that you have to have all superstars. Look at the last two Pistons, the last two teams that won, the Get-to-Work Pistons and the Bad Boys. The Bad Boys had Isaiah Thomas, and that was it, and a bunch of role players. Obviously, Dennis Rodman, maybe one of the best defensive players ever, was on the team, but they had a lot of very, very strong role players. Bill Laimbeer, Rick Mahorn, Rodman, Sally. I mean, the list goes on and on. Adrian Dantley came to the team later, and they had before that Dantley's the one that got traded, and we got Mark Aguirre. And I'm going way back on that stuff, but same way with the Get-to-Work Pistons. They had Chauncey wasn't a superstar when he got here. You would have to say he was later on, but you don't have to have 5 stars or 4 stars or even 2 stars. Just have a really solid, balanced team. But regardless, I want the stud. I want the guy who's going to hit the big shots. I think Cade is that guy right now, but I don't feel like Ivy's that guy. And so, a couple things. People keep talking. Well, let's do first things first. I've heard different opinions about Jaden Ivey as far as will he match the team or will he not match the team. I think he's a perfect fit, quite frankly, because as badly as I want Benedict Mathurin or Shaden Sharp, I'm really intrigued by, and I don't hate Keegan Murray, but Benedict Mathurin is an off-the-ball guy. He's strictly a shooting guard. There's no point guard about Benedict Mathurin. He's a slasher type. You can throw him some alley-oops. He's more like Jalen Green. He can shoot. He's a better shooter from three. Again, he's about the alley-oops, the offensive boards, the defensive boards. He's a pretty decent rebounder for a guard, 6'6" guard. Very, very athletic. Good slasher. He can run the fast break very well, but he's not a point guard. Cade, 100% of the point guard responsibilities would go to him. We also have Carson Edwards, who played for Purdue 3 years ago. He played in our G League team last year. Averaged like 27 points a game. He's more of a natural point guard that can score. So if he pans out, there's another point guard. But if he doesn't, you're stuck with, then you pretty much got to keep Killian at that point. Killian Hayes, because he's going to be, and then he and Cade can kind of split the role. With Jaden Ivey, you got two guys that can create, they can facilitate, and they can move around without the ball. They can take turns playing each role. I think it's quite interesting to have both those guys, even though I'm not crazy about, I haven't been crazy about Ivy up until now. But man, the guys, I think it's an interesting mix. But I still leaned toward Benedict Mathurin. I think he's the more natural, just basketball player. He looks like he's got that thing to me. Like he's gonna be an amazing scorer in the NBA, and that's all he's gonna be is a scorer. He's just a pure, flat out scorer. Gonna put the ball in the bucket. That's his role, score. And they keep saying he wasn't the greatest defensively, but he's got a decent defensive ceiling because he's got the long arms. He's got a 6'11" wingspan, and he's 6'6". He's got mad ups. The dude gets up in the air. He can shoot. He's got all the stuff, man. I'm telling you right now. I can't find my chat on here. I can watch the YouTube chat, but there was a chat thing on this software. I don't know where it went. But anyway. So there's that. And I keep hearing all this stuff about Ivy not being able to shoot, which I don't understand. Let's look back at a year ago. Let me share my screen real quick. Alright. A year ago. This was, that's this year. That's last year's. So this is the draft last year. You had Cade at 40% from 3, which is strong. I consider 40 and up really good. Like exceptionally good. But you do have to remember the college 3 versus the NBA 3 is a whole different game. But 40% is pretty good. Very good. Jalen Green, 36, solid. Evan Mobley for a big, 30%. Not bad. You would still call him a stretch big. 30% is decent. Suggs, almost 34. Scotty Barnes, terrible. Bouknight, terrible. Kuminga, not very good in the G League. Moses Moody, decent. Wagner, decent. All these numbers, 29, 34, 36, 35, 24, 29. These are the top guys last year, 27%. Then you had Jalen Johnson. I don't know what he did this year. 44%. I didn't hear anything about him, but he could shoot the lights out. Davion Mitchell ended up in Sacramento. Almost 45%. I think he's going to be really good, by the way. Trey Murphy. To be honest with you, I want the Pistons to get him. He's 43%. I want to see him come over and just be a pure shooter. He shot the lights out in college at Virginia. Corey Kispert, you knew he could shoot in Gonzaga, 44%. Jaden Springer, all the good shooters were toward the bottom more. The top guys were all decent except for Cade was 40, but 36. So now you look this year and everybody talks about how Ivy can't shoot. Jabari is a freak of nature, 42% for a 6'10" guy. That is unbelievable, and I've watched him a lot. Guy's a pure shooter. That's for a 6'10" guy. He's not that great down low. He's more of he almost plays like a 3, like a 3-4 type. That just he wants to be away from the basket. He's not a back to the rim kind of guy. Holmgren, 39%, amazing for a 7-footer. Again, plays like a point guard, doesn't, but he can get down and block shots and defend. He's so thin, obviously. Banchero, kind of similar to last year's numbers for everybody else, 33.8. Ivy, look at that, 36%. Better than most of the guys at the top of the draft last year. Better than Daniels, better than Sohan. Murray was very strong for a 3-4 type guy, 40%. Griffin's the freak in this year's draft. He's almost 45%. That was his role. He was a Sadiq Bey for Duke last year. He just flat out shot. He just stood at the 3-point line and waited his turn to shoot. That's what he was good at. And then there's Mathurin, 36.9, my guy. So he and Ivy are almost the same. He shoots a little better than Ivy, but all this talk about Ivy not being able to shoot, I don't understand it. And he improved a lot from his freshman year, as did Mathurin, as did Murray. They were all in their like low 30s the year before. Don't have that in front of me, but this thing about Ivy not being able to shoot, I don't understand it. And I haven't been an Ivy proponent. Again, I think he's going to be a very strong player. But I think I really like Mathurin, to be honest with you. Shaedon Sharpe, we don't know. He didn't play last year. Ty, not bad, but he was just, if you watched him play, man, I don't even know how he's a first rounder. He's a decent shooter though. But anyway, so getting back to all my predictions here and how well I fare with that. Let me get back to the screen here. There we are. Here's a little kitten. Want to see a cat? Oh, look at the cat. That's a perma kitten. She never grows. But anyway, so something has happened that was kind of like last year. Jaden Ivey is talking about he wants to play for the Pistons. His mom played for the Detroit Shock. He's lived here before. And I got to tell you, man, it's got me kind of wanting to get Jaden Ivey now. There's nothing... the guys on 97.1 brought it up. That, there was nothing worse than having... Pete's the nose tackle for the Lions. And Ndamukong Suh, who you could tell he didn't want to be here from day one. And when the Lions went and got him, he did very well for us, but you could tell he just didn't want to be here. And they didn't win. They made, I think, they made the playoffs a couple times, but they had him. They had, obviously, great quarterback. They had some decent talent, good defensive line for a couple years, but they never lived up to what they could have done. And you wonder about his heart sometimes. So I want guys that want to be here, especially with the Pistons. They got a young core that you want to keep building, obviously, and you don't want to get guys that don't want to be here and waste 4 years of their career. So that says a lot. Keegan Murray said the same thing. He was listing the guys, supposedly. He's talking about Bey and Cade and Killian and all the young guys, the good young core that we have, and he'd love to be a part of that. So that's another one, but I know a lot of people shy away from him. He's 23 years old, considered old. The good thing about him is I think this team can make a run this year. I think they can get into the playoffs and be a scary team to play this upcoming season. You think of the starting five of Cade, Ivy, Grant if we keep him, Sadiq Bey, and then either Isaiah Stewart or what's the guy's name from Duke? I always forget his name. The guy we picked up last season who looked really good. And then if it's Stewart starting, then that guy comes off the bench. Bagley, Marcus Bagley. And then you got Livers coming off the bench. Carson Edwards, if he's going to pan out, he's coming off the bench. That's a pretty strong team for a bunch of new guys. And I think that team can make the playoffs. I still want to... This is a good draft. I still want to move Grant. And I hear all these rumors about what we can get for him. If we can move him and get the 7th pick from... Who's got the 7th pick? Portland. That would be amazing. Can you imagine getting Ivy at 5 and like a Sohan or the shooting specialist Griffin or Mathurin if he's there? Holy crap. If you had Ivy and Mathurin, that's 3 guards. Probably don't need all that. But if we didn't get Ivy, maybe he goes 4. And we end up with Keegan Murray, who plays like a 4. Now you go get Benedict Mathurin at 7, and you got your other guard. Man, there's so many possibilities here. That would be amazing. I don't want Johnny Davis out of Wisconsin. There was another one. I haven't heard about this rumor for quite a while, but Charlotte giving us the 13 and 15. And they got him way down in this draft. But, Jalen Williams is one. Almost 40% from 3. 18 points a game. Santa Clara. He was a junior, so he's probably 20, 21 years old. But Jalen Williams is a nice player. Kendall Brown. I want to talk about Kendall Brown for a second. He's another guy. I watched him a lot with Baylor last year as a freshman. So that team, even though it wasn't the championship team, they were still loaded with talent. They had that Jeremy Sohan that I showed earlier. I think he's a sophomore. I forgot to switch my screen over, guys. Alright, there we go. Let's get back to this. My bad. Like I said, I'm still learning on this. Sohan. Where is he? Oh, he was a freshman. Okay. So Sohan was a freshman. So was Kendall Brown. Kendall Brown kind of reminded me of Tayshaun Prince when he played for Kentucky way back in the day. He just the way he maneuvered through like groups of people and arms trying to strip the ball. At times he just looked like he was unstoppable. Now Prince wasn't that player for us at the Pistons, but he had a nice career with the Pistons. He was a great shot blocker, phenomenal defender. I haven't heard about this kid's wingspan. I don't know if he has that wingspan, but I just remember Prince in college. He'd go 1-on-5, and he just found a way to put the ball in the basket. And Kendall Brown kind of reminded me of that. Like I don't know. The way he just gets through sometimes. He didn't break out. If you read this little thing, they talk about that. He didn't have the breakout in Baylor that maybe a lot of these guys had, but he also had 5, 6, 7 studs on the team. So, it was harder for him to get his. I think if he plays for another team or like a smaller team even, like maybe what's the guy, Jalen Williams, he played for Santa Clara. If he played for a team like that, I think he's 20. I think he's more of a Ja Morant kind of guy where he's averaging 25 points a game. He's on a team of studs, and he didn't get a chance to show it off as much. Sohan, I remember, kind of taking over a lot. Sohan was more of the alpha male on the team. This little kitten. And they had many alpha males on the team. That's why I don't think they won it last year. They had too many guys all wanting to be the alpha male, and Brown kind of just slid back in the background. But if you watch games, he especially early in the season, he looked really, really good. E.J. Liddell, clearly an alpha male for Ohio State. 37% from 3. Another guy. If we can get some later round picks, Mark Williams is my guy. I love Mark Williams. He's 7'2". He's huge. He can jump. He's got a motor. If we got a second pick, if we get another pick for Grant, I'd love to get him. Him and Liddell, Kendall Brown. There's 2 Jalen Williams, by the way, but the one from Santa Clara I like a lot. I do like Duren. I keep hearing he might slip to the second round, but he's been all over the map. He's not much of an offensive threat, but he's long guy, long wingspan, 6'11", out of Memphis. He looked pretty solid, good shot blocker, great defender. He's like a inch shorter than Holmgren, but he plays a lot like Holmgren defensively. Very strong defense guy. I wouldn't mind getting him. This Nikola Jovic, he's intriguing. We don't have much information on him. They say he can shoot from anywhere. Plays more like a guard, 6'10", typical European guy. But I don't know, man. The name Nikola Jovic, tell me that guy doesn't make it in the NBA. Anybody with a name like that seems to just do well. That's a horrible argument, but he just sounds like an NBA stud. Wendell Moore Jr. He impressed me at Duke. He's another one kind of like my buddy Kendall Brown, overshadowed at Duke a little bit. Still got 13 points a game, 41% from three. Everybody talks about Griffin. He was almost 45%. Well, Wendell Moore was 41%. He didn't shoot as much as Griffin, but I don't know, man. Wendell Moore on another team probably averages 20 plus. And he was a junior, so he's 20, 21. Other Jalen Williams for Arkansas was alright. I don't know that I want him. Watched him a lot for Arkansas. Arkansas was awesome last year. So was Alabama. The SEC had some nice teams, but I don't know that I want him on my team. Can't shoot the three. I didn't like that. We already got bigs that can't shoot. It'd be nice if we had one that could. Gene Montero, know nothing about him. Played for, I think, overtime elite. Yeah, we don't know what he does. Josh Minot, honestly, I don't remember him at all. I only watched one game of Memphis. That was that one when they played against Gonzaga. I watched two. I watched that one in the round before. Jaden Hardy. Jaden Hardy was a top 3 prospect coming out of high school. He ended up going to the G League Ignite. 17.7. Didn't shoot very good. Shooting guard that can't shoot. But that would be equivalent to his freshman season. A lot of guys shoot bad their freshman seasons. And that was an NBA three-pointer. But that's scary. That scares me. He needs to be a better shooter than that. But again, usually the second year is when they improve a lot. So Trevor Keels, my buddy Jordan Nunn and I talk all the time. His brother actually played for this little kitten. He played for VCU. Was that who it was? Why does that sound wrong? Yeah, VCU. Little kitten. He played for him last year. He was a freshman, so he knows all these guys. But Trevor Keels was just... If you didn't see him play, you missed out. He is a bulldog. Another guy played for Duke, so everybody's sharing the spotlight. But he was 6'4", 221 of... Whoop, this cat is stepping on this little kitten. She wants all this attention because I'm talking to nobody. Anyway, solid rock muscle. That guy is... I've never seen a basketball player like that guy. There we are. Trevor Keels. I mean a bulldog. Absolute bulldog. He can shoot. 31 wasn't great, but again, it was his freshman year. He should get better. I don't know what he does great other than intimidate, because he's just a little bulldog, man. He's like a 6'4" Zion Williamson. Like, he's just going to run you over. I've never seen a guy built like that playing basketball. Anyway, yeah, there's lots of options. Our second round, this website projects the second round picks. We're way down at like 45. 46. Dom Barlow played for the Overtime Elite. I like this little write-up about this guy. 6 foot, they say he's 6'10", 221. Plays like a stretch 4. 7'1" wingspan, so I don't know anything about this guy. Don't know where he came from. No clue. But he sounds kind of intriguing, but I don't even know what this Overtime Elite is. It's like a step below the G League, so I don't know why he ended up down there. But there's a couple guys in the draft that played for the Overtime Elite. So I don't know anything about the league. I don't know anything about him, but he sounds decent. I mean, I'm kind of intrigued by him. If he's 6'10" and plays like a point forward kind of guy, that's kind of nice. Johnny Juzang, we all remember him from 2 years ago, not so much from last year. They kind of mailed it in last year, UCLA. Hugo Besson, French dude, know nothing about him. 6'6", 180. Peyton Watson, I don't remember him from... Oh, I do remember him from UCLA. He was pretty strong too. He was really good, actually. Wait, 3 points a game. Yeah, it's not... I don't know. Maybe I don't remember him. Keon Ellis out of Alabama was a good-looking player. Very athletic. Nemhard out of Gonzaga looked nice. He looks like a guy that could maybe improve. Man, I don't want to waste too much time talking about everybody in the draft. J.D. Davidson, I'm good on that. Pass. But anyway, I'm kind of flipping like I did last year. I'm kind of intrigued by Jaden Ivey. Doug J, what's up? Just looking at the chat. Let me put my ugly mug back on here. How's it going? Felt like talking some basketball today. I can't get anybody to bite. I'm in here by myself. Well, you're here now, but we got 3 people watching. You guys missed everything. Going over who I think's going to be good and all that stuff. And basically, last year I was, you could say I was wrong because I was really on the Jalen Green bandwagon. But right before the draft, I remember Cade Cunningham saying he wanted to be in Detroit, and that sold me, man. I flipped and went with Cade, and it looks like Cade was the right guy. Jalen Green still might be a stud. He's got his, they're both only 1 year in, but Jalen Green could still pan out to be really good. But for a long time, I was basically wrong. I think Cade was the right guy, and I'm kind of going that route this year. I'm all about Benedict Mathurin. Shaden Sharp intrigues the heck out of me. We don't have enough video on him, but he looks like he's pretty good. I wouldn't mind taking a swing and miss on him, but now that Jaden Ivey's talking about wanting to be a Piston, man, that's hard to ignore. That really, it's got me thinking. And Keegan Murray said the same thing. He's talking about all the guys that play for Detroit. He'd love to be a part of that. So there's 2 guys that want to be in Detroit. They want to play with Cade, and it's refreshing to hear that we got the right guy last year who's helping us get more interest now. Everybody wants to play with Cade because Cade's a stud. This little kitten, what are you doing? Anyway, I'm just practicing. I got this OBS Studio, which is pretty sweet. I got a lot to learn with it, but it's pretty amazing. I really want to get used to using this, so that's why I'm kind of testing it out and practicing, so to speak. Oh, everybody's gone. Nobody wants to talk basketball. So anyway, we'll sign out of this. Thanks for watching if you watched. Have a good one, everybody.